Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Brother Quang Nguyen. I was here for the last 3 years, and so I would like to welcome all of you as new parents to St. Bosco High School. And St. Bosco High School has been a big part of my vocation as a salvation vocation here. So let us start this night with a short prayer, and let us collect ourselves and please ourselves and remind ourselves that we are always in the presence of God. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, we pray that you will help our students and parents as they begin this new school year, and allow every student to feel your presence and blessings each and every day. Father, we pray that students will not fear, because your word encourages us to be strong and courageous. We pray that you will open the eyes of every student to receive new challenges, revelation, and insight in Jesus' name. Allow every student and parent to support teachers as they educate children of all ages. Give every student a spirit of enthusiasm, motivation, and self-discipline. Give every parent a spirit of understanding so that they will effectively listen to the needs of their child. Father, inspire every student to do the best they can this year. We ask this in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. St. John Bosco. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. And now I would like to invite Dr. Wistrom for the welcome.
Can you hear me? Okay. Welcome. This is exciting to see this many people in the room. Because I think the numbers, I can't find back, I was trying to find, but I think there's 240 new students to the school. So that's incoming freshmen, incoming transfers. So it's going to be outstanding here. So my background, for 22 years, I worked in higher education. And then I have a sophomore, he's going to be a sophomore this fall at St. John Bosco. And I think that with Dr. Anderson, Derek Lane, with our staff administration, I think we have one of the highest level achieving teams in any high school in the country. So it's an exciting time to be in Bosco. I think if your son does football, basketball, baseball, does club sports, it's an amazing time to be here. The new programming that we're adding is going to enhance your students' experience. And for us, there's no place we want to be than to be here and make sure that your son has an amazing experience. So my office is in the hallway across from Dr. Anderson's office, and it's an open door policy. So if your son has any questions, can't find anything, please come track me down. I'm usually here every day. And if I'm not, that means I'm probably out doing something good for the school, I hope, but not always. But it's an amazing school, and we have some of the best people that are going to be big influences on your sons. If you look around the room, the families here are going to become quickly family friends, because all the students that go to school here become great friends. And it's an amazing experience of brotherhood you see form. So my son rides to school with me every day and goes home with me every day. I never see him during the day because he's always with his friends when he's not in class. So it's just an amazing experience. So if you have any questions, please let me know. But thank you all for being a part of our Bosco family. And I'll turn it over to Dr. Anderson.
Dr. Wistrom, thank you so much. So again, welcome to St. John Bosco High School. I'm excited to have you all here. Again, I was sitting here for a minute and the room got a lot more packed, so that is great to see. It's so wonderful to see everyone here tonight. I'm excited for your sons. If they've already started with some type of camp over the summer, that's great. If not, their first experience at St. John Bosco High School is going to be this Monday with our new student orientation. So we have a great plan for them to acclimate to the school, to get ready so that when the rest of the students arrive on Wednesday and then ultimately their first classes happen on Thursday, they can feel good about where they're going. Because again, I'm sure all of you as parents are a little nervous. Oh no, my son's going on to a new school. I promise you, when you leave them in our hands, they're going to be well taken care of. But even beyond that, they're going to take care of each other. So, this is our agenda for tonight. So Brother Quang, who again he had mentioned he had been with us for 3 years, and he's given so much to our school as a teacher, as a campus minister, and now he's moving on in his vocation. So it's exciting to see him, that we still get to have him around until about the end of September. So I'm glad that he was able to pray with us tonight. In a little bit, we're going to have a welcome from our Parent Association. And there is not a representative from our Margaritas Guild, but I will share just a little bit about what that organization is. But no, it is not a drinking organization. Sorry. I'll tell you a story about it in a minute. As you can tell, the margarita is spelled just a little differently. Okay. From there, we're actually going to get some calisthenics in, because half of the room, let's go with anyone on this half of the room, when I tell you to, is going to stand up, and we're going to go out these doors, and we're going to go in through the school to walk down the hallways. We're going to walk by our campus store, so if you haven't visited our campus store yet, you can get all of your student needs and even your parent needs there in terms of apparel. And then go into the chapel for student affairs and athletics. Okay? All of you on this side of the room are going to stay put for just a little bit, because we're going to talk about academics and counseling right in here. Each session will be about a half hour, and then after that session we'll rotate. So everyone in this room will follow that same path, down the administrative hallway, all the way down to the chapel, and then hear the student affairs presentation and the athletics presentation. Okay? And then those that were in the chapel would come back here to finish the night. All right, so that's our agenda tonight. Again, please relax, take it all in. There's a million things that are going to get thrown at you. Did everyone get a orientation guidebook? If you did not, please make sure you do get one. You don't need one right now, but please, just before you leave tonight, get one, okay? Before we get going into our program, I do want to introduce all of our staff here. So if you are staff, I'm going to start this way and just scan the room, so please raise your hand so I can see who you are. I think I see Miss Becky Ellison. She's our Dean of Enrollment, so she's waving at you. I'm sure you've had many interactions with her so far. Okay. If I miss you, Miss Megan Nash. She is our Director of Digital Marketing, the one who's making this possible to record, so you can go back and watch it again, because it's going to be so entertaining, you won't be able to help yourself. Then, Miss Melody Mohebi. She is our Head Athletic Trainer. And then standing right next to her is Dr. Eric Lane. He is our athletic director in class of 2003. Then Ms. Patty Lascano. She works in our admissions department. So again, if your son did any shadow days and all of his wonderful experience, she played a large role in that. Then our lead counselor, Ms. Alyssa Skipper, who you'll hear more from later in here for a counseling presentation. Ms. Jen Schnorr, who is our Vice Principal of Student Affairs. Then there is Ms. Patty Martinez, who teaches a lot of our freshmen in English. So odds are, not always the case, but in some cases, your son could very well have her as a teacher this fall. Standing next to her, you've already met Brother Quang. And then did I miss any other staff in here that I did not see? Obviously, there's a lot more, but just wanted to introduce everyone in the room who played an integral role in not just making sure this experience can be set up, but will play a role in the next 4 years of your son's future. And so that's a little bit what I wanted to share just to start this out, is talk just a little bit about our school. It starts in the late 1800s. St. John Bosco opened up what he called his oratory in Valdoco, just outside of the city of Turin, Italy. And his goal, his mission there was to create a place where young people could thrive and find an educational experience that encompassed the whole person. He called it his preventive system, where a young man ought to experience an education that is filled with reason, religion, and loving kindness. Reason, religion, and loving kindness. He espoused an environment for young people. A learning experience ought not just be academic, but it should be a home, a place where young people can belong. A school, a place where they can learn, be prepared for life, of course. But also a church. That's the beauty of being a Salesian Catholic school, is we can pray together. We can reflect on where we are in our spiritual journey together. Then also a playground, a place to celebrate accomplishments, of course, on a ball field or a court, but celebrate on a stage or in a classroom or whatever it might be, playing a song. So we are a home, a school, a church, and a playground. With that, there are some distinctive characteristics of a Salesian school like ours. It's a community that's centered on Christ. The Eucharist is at the center of our school, the center of what we do, along with the youth. We are a youth-centered school. We are Christ and youth-centered. We espouse a familial spirit. This is a family. Okay, you'll hear a lot about a brotherhood, but also, you're all part of this too. So it's not just you send your son here and that's it. We want you to take part in this educational experience as well, because it's really life-giving and rewarding. We hope that we are creating an educational program that not just gets a student to college or gets the kid a job, but it's an education to transform. From what a young man is when he enters, to when he leaves this place, he becomes the best version of himself. You might wonder, what can I expect? Teachers are obviously one of the many backbones of our society. Okay, so what makes a Salesian educator different than any other teacher? Some characteristics of a Salesian educator that you can expect every time your son or yourself has an experience with them. A Salesian educator ought to be filled with respect. As Christians, as Catholics, we respect all life in all ways. Okay? So that includes interactions and relationships. That relationship between parent-student, student-teacher, teacher-parent is of the utmost importance. Every Salesian educator comes with an understanding that I think Dr. Wistrom shared. About 240 new students will be joining us. Those are 240 different stories. And so our teachers have an understanding that each one of those stories is going to be a little bit different, and therefore they need to be able to interact with that student in that place and time where they're at. A Salesian educator is filled with affection. Now, all teachers love kids, of course, but coming into the classroom with a sheer and true joy of being with your student and helping them get to where they're going. And then finally, humor. And of course that could mean a joke, could mean laughing and playing together, of course, but really what it means is, instead of being pessimistic and possibly intense, coming to the classroom with cheer and a humbleness, that just as I'm helping students learn, I'm learning from them as well. And that is part of the experience that happens on a daily basis here. We are an all-boys school, and there are some distinct advantages to that. As a boys-specific school, we have a distinct understanding of how to educate young men. We are building an educative program to build good, honest young men that can go out into the world and transform their experience. We attempt to foster brotherhood and lifelong friendship. I can tell you, as a graduate of this school, some of the best friends I have in my life were people that I graduated from this school with. It's actually kind of fun. There's a gentleman there who was a graduate a year after me, and then Dr. Eric Lane graduated a year before me. So talking about that familial spirit, I believe the total is 22 people on staff are graduates of this institution. That says something. We want to come back here. We want to come back and have and share in that same experience with the young men that go to this school. And finally, before we kind of move into programming and all that stuff, here's some nuts and bolts stuff. I can only imagine what's running through your mind as a new parent, a new school. I had my son's middle school down. I knew where all the different hit points were, and if I needed to talk to someone about this or this, I knew exactly where to go. Sure, that's not necessarily the case right now, but our job is to make sure that that happens as smoothly and as quickly as possible. So a couple things to keep your eye on. Our website is filled with a lot of information, especially the calendar section is a relatively new feature on our website that you can filter out the calendar based on what you want to know. When are athletic matches? What's the bell schedule? When are holidays? All those kind of things. So you can go to our website and look at the calendar. In addition to that, you will receive an email from me every Sunday. And it will have the week's events, but in addition, some things to look forward to in the coming weeks. So please, every Sunday, please be on the lookout for that email. I share that with you because if you're not getting that email on Sundays, it means that something in our database is wrong. So I'd love you to please reach out to the school so that we can make sure that you have that the following week. Okay? In addition to that, in the last year plus, and again, a large thanks goes to Miss Nash in the back, our social media game in the last year has stepped up in a big way, and a lot of that has to do with her. We have a lot of information on Instagram, Facebook, all of those kind of things. So you can also check there for a lot of great information, okay? And finally, you might be thinking, my son's about to enter a new experience. How do I support him? In our presentation in here in a few minutes, we're going to talk about what's called a growth mindset. Every student's at a different place currently right now. And how we approach education at St. John Bosco High School is with a growth mindset, meaning I may presently struggle with, but it does not mean I can't. And so if you help him approach, I may be struggling in this class that I used to do really well in middle school, and now I'm frustrated because I used to be so great at math, and now I'm not. That was me. He can get there, and he will get there. So support him in that. And then second, he's a teenage young man. He could be, if he's a freshman, he's 13, 14 years old. If he's transferring in, maybe he's 15, 16, 17. So I say all that to say, he's still trying to find his identity. Even at the age I'm at, I'm still trying to fully find my identity. So please support him in that. Whatever he's going to become, he's not there yet. And so just encourage him to explore and find his best self. And if you do those two things, approach your son with a growth mindset and help him explore and find who he is and where his passions lie, that's going to be a large bulk of the support he needs. The support he needs to be successful. And so, in a minute, I'm going to invite up some members from the leadership of the Parent Association to come speak to you about our great parent organization. But I do want to share with you, because they cannot be here tonight, we actually have two parent groups on campus. The one I'll give you just a small spiel about is the Margaritas Guild. So for some context, we talked about Don Bosco's oratory. A woman who played a large role in that oratory was Mama Margarita. That was Don Bosco's mother. She played a large administrative role in the carrying out of all the activities of that place. She played a large part in the success of that original oratory. And so in that theme, it is a mother's organization designed to support any needs, goals of the school. So if that's something you might be interested in, you can reach out. There is a new parent meeting or a new parent invite that if you didn't get it, there's a little QR code card around the corner to give you more information about that. But at this time, I'd like to invite up some of our leadership from our Parent Association.
Good evening, parents. My name is Margaret Telsonga, and I am the PA president, Parent Association president this year. I was in your place a few years ago. My son is a 2024. He's going to be a junior. It goes by really fast. The Parent Association is a group of parents. We have a meeting the second Monday of every month. Everybody's welcome to come. It starts at 6 p.m. with a social, and then 6:30 is the meeting. And we usually have speakers there from the school that will give us information about maybe any events or a program. It's very informative. I joined it when my son was a freshman, and it really helped me navigate through the years. Some of them, we host events for parents and your son throughout the year. The first event we have is the Grandparents' Day. So it's an event that your son can come with his grandparents. It's breakfast, it's math. It's a really special time for your son to spend with his grandparents. We have the Our Mother's Son, which is like they call the mom prom. And that's for just the mom and the son. And then we have the Father's Son car show and breakfast. And that's, so the Mother's Son is in December 4th, and the Father's Son is in March. Right now, our team is passing around little save the dates. So you can save the date on your calendar, and hopefully we'll see you. On Dr. Anderson's weekly message, we also have our announcements there to remind you of meetings and all that. And also on the website, there is a link to email us if you have any questions. And also we have a Facebook page. I don't know if some of you know, but we also have a Facebook page, and it's a community group that you can post and ask questions, and it's just a bunch of parents supporting each other. So we hope we see you this year, and we wish your son an amazing 4 years. Thank you.
She's not thinking about how helpful that Facebook page is. Do you remember exactly what is it SJVPA is?
Yeah.
So if you were to just go in and type SJV Parent Association, join that group. This may sound bad, I apologize. Sometimes I go there to get information because they do such a great job of keeping everyone up to date. So please, if you have Facebook, join that group. It's just a great opportunity to connect, to talk about, can we exchange books? My son's in this class. Can teenage boys, what they do best, they grow. His pants no longer fit. Does anyone need a size 32? So on and so forth. So it's just a great opportunity to build community. So with that, we are now going to begin our transition. All right, well, let's get going. So please feel free to take a seat, relax. We'll be in here for about a half hour. Again, this presentation is going to be twofold. I'm going to talk a little bit about not necessarily our academic program, because it's very easy enough to just go online and look at all the classes we offer. Really what I think is more important is I want to talk about three things with you. The first is, I alluded to it, what is our philosophy toward education? Talked a little bit about a growth mindset. So we're going to go into a little bit more detail about that. Second thing I want to share with you is we're starting something new at our school. How many of you, raise your hand if your son went to a Catholic elementary school? Okay, so a good number. So a lot of you will already be familiar with this. That's why I asked that question, because if your son went to a Catholic elementary school, he more than likely took a STAR test 3 times a year. So if he is a 9th grader or a 10th grader, if you have an 11th or 12th grader coming, he will not be taking a STAR test. So I apologize, we're going to spend about 6 minutes talking about that. But if he is a 9th or 10th grader, there'll be some valuable information about STAR testing, what it is and why we're doing it. And then the third thing, I want to share just a little bit about where you can go to check on your students' progress. Sure, pick up the phone and call his counselor, email a teacher, whatever it might be. But we use a platform, a learning management system called Schoology. So I'm going to show you a little bit about the basics of how to sign into that, because there'll be some information coming your way soon, so that you can sign up for your son's individual account, and you will be able to, in real time, check your son's grades. Okay? So with that, let's get going. So again, in thinking about our educational philosophy, I want to share a lot with growth mindset versus what's known as a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset being, I am here, and there's pretty much nothing I can do to get out of right here. A growth mindset, as long as I continue to work, put in effort, ask questions, I can grow, I can become more, I can become greater. I can grow. So again, that philosophy and mindset, what does that look like? I'm going to show you a short video. It's about 4 minutes long, but it does a much better job of explaining growth mindset better than I ever could. And it turned off because it was sitting too long. I apologize. Oh, come on. If you were in here before, I promise you it was working.
400 fifth grade students from all across the nation.
Let's restart this thing.
So check this out. Carol Dweck and her colleagues wanted to look into the impacts that praise had on children's development. So what they did is they took over 400 fifth grade students from all across the nation, and they did a really simple yet interesting study. Here's how it went down. They gave all the kids a really, really easy nonverbal IQ test. There were 10 questions, and at the end of the test, they praised all the children in one of two ways. The first group was praised for their intelligence. So they said, wow, great job, you must be really smart at this. Now the second group was praised for their effort. So they said, wow, great job, you must have worked really, really hard at this. Now this is a really subtle difference, but the impact it had is incredible. So after praising the kids and getting them divided up into the two groups, they gave them all an option for their next test. The first option was, hey, this next test is going to be a little bit harder, but it's going to be a great opportunity to learn and grow. Now the second option was, this next test will be similar to the first, and you will surely do well on it. Now the interesting thing is, out of the group that was praised for their intelligence, 67% of them chose the easier option, while 92% of the kids who were praised for their effort chose the harder test. This is unbelievable to think about, how just the subtle difference in the way that they were praised had such an impact. Carol Dweck explains why this happened.
The child or adult hears, oh, you think I'm brilliant and talented. That's why you admire me. That's why you value me. I better not do anything that will disprove this evaluation. As a result, they enter a fixed mindset, they play it safe in the future, and they limit the growth of their talents. Whereas focusing on the strategies they use, the way they're stretching themselves and taking on hard tasks, the intense practice they're doing, those are the kinds of things that say to a child or an older athlete, it's about the process of growth. As a result, they don't feel, oh, if I make a mistake, you won't think I'm talented. They think, oh, if I don't take on hard things and stick to them, I'm not going to grow.
Next, Dweck and her colleagues gave all the kids a really, really difficult test. It was one that they would surely fail, but they wanted to look at how the different kids attacked this challenge. Dweck noticed that the group that was praised for effort worked harder, longer, and actually enjoyed this test more than the group that was praised for their intelligence. This group got really frustrated with this test and had the tendency to give up early. After this artificially induced failure round, All of the kids were given a third and final test. Now this test was the same level of difficulty as the first one, but check out the results. The group that was praised for their intelligence actually did worse on this test than the first one. Their average score actually dropped by 20%, while the group that was praised for their effort did significantly better, raising their average score by nearly 30%. This is a 50% difference in performance that was caused by a few subtle differences in the way that they were praised. This study shows how praise can either make or break a child's development. I mean, we all do it. We all want to be positive with the children we work with, so teachers, coaches, parents are always looking for ways to support their kids and tend to praise them quite a bit. So we need to look at research like this and realize, okay, praise is a good thing and there's nothing wrong with being positive, but we need to be very careful about praising someone's intelligence or abilities and focus more on the process and the effort that they put forth. I think this is a pretty easy fix that will help us develop growth mindsets within the kids that we work with. And as all
So again, when we talk about what is our educational philosophy here at St. John Bosco, it is a growth mindset. It is a praise for effort, praise for sticking to it, because the research shows that's only going to move the needle even farther for them. When we help students change their mindset of, I presently struggle with, I want to do better, that is going to move them much farther than just saying, you're so smart. That's a great job. Okay, so that is the philosophy that we take on in every class, regardless, whether it's religious studies, world languages, math, whatever it might be. Because what we're trying to shift from, and I know you can't read every single one of these, but you can see the bigger words, is we're trying to shift from, we don't want your students to just be prepped for college. We want to move them to college readiness. Okay, it's one thing to get into college, but in our opinion, the success of a high school is how prepared and then how ready is a student for college or their next step. Taking it a step further, how successful are they going to be? Because again, we can talk about college acceptance rates, and of course they're high, but also how long are students able to stick with it? Again, that growth mindset. How long are they able to stick to that hard work that is whatever college or university or trade or military agent, whatever it might be, are they able to be successful in that next step? Okay, so really trying to shift that from just being prepped and get in to success. Shifting from, which at least I know when most of us were all in school, we probably were in a classroom where there was a culture of teaching. Instead of a culture of teaching, we espouse a culture for learning. So what might a difference be is many of you might be educators, and so we've all heard about we need to have a bell curve in our class. You know, we need to have some kids on one end that get some D's and F's, kids here that get A's and B's, and then there'll be a lump of kids in the middle that get a C. That's a culture of teaching. What we're trying to get to is a culture for learning where every child can and will learn. Might look a little different for each one. Are we focusing on covering material, or are we focusing on students understanding the skills and mastering the skills that we're trying to set forth? So that's another phrase that I want you to kind of keep in your mind when you're thinking of your son's education at St. John Bosco High School. This is not just a culture of teaching, it's a culture for your son's learning. So, I talked a little bit about STAR testing. We're implementing that here for the first time at St. John Bosco High School. So why did I share those two things with you? Going from college prepped to college successful, and going from a culture of teaching to a culture for learning. Because this video is a little shorter, but I'm going to share with you, STAR testing will give our teachers valuable data about your student, your individual student, that can help them put him in the place where he can grow. As an educator, obviously we all care about the young men that are in our room. But if we have some data some valuable data points of what skills that young man is ready to learn next, we can use that in our classroom instead of taking an educated guess. We can have some pretty good knowledge of he's ready to do this. And so he needs to be given this. And actually what I'm going to do is talk about that instead. So what is a STAR assessment? It's a short test that your son's going to take 3 times over the course of this school year. Again, if he's a 9th or a 10th grader, okay? It's a short test. Depending on the student, it can take anywhere between 30 and 40 minutes. These are tests that are done in math and reading. So these 2 tests will test his math skills and his reading skills. The test is computer adaptive, meaning that as he answers more questions correctly, the questions will get more difficult. If he is to miss a question, the questions will become a little bit easier. So that over the course of that short 36 question test, we're going to arrive at a point where we know what skill or skills your son is ready to learn next. Then your son's teacher can take that and know, okay, he's ready for this algebra skill. He's ready for this reading comprehension skill. Let's move into that, okay? So then we can also measure growth over time. He's going to take this test within the first month of school. He's going to take it again in January. The goal would be, obviously, that he improves. But even if he doesn't, what that might tell us is we need to use some different strategies with that young man. And that gives that teacher immediate feedback. I need to try to reach this young man in a different way. And that is a tool that our teachers haven't had yet to this point. So I'm really excited that your sons are going to have that experience. So again, what are we going to use this for? So this is why I ask you as a parent to help us get your son to buy in, because as it is a formative test, there is not a grade on this test. It's purely a measuring tool for our teachers. Doesn't mean it's not important, though, because the more valid of a reading that your son puts into it, the more accurate the data will be for his teacher to use. Because these are all the great things. We can do universal screening of every 9th and 10th grader at our school to know what skill they're ready to learn next and individualize their learning plan as much as possible. We can use that data to create an instructional plan for them that helps them grow as a student. We can monitor their progress. So again, if they're excelling off the charts, let's keep going and do more of that. If maybe a student regresses a little, clearly what we're doing with that young man isn't working. Let's try something new, okay? And then we take the test again, and then we notice, hey, these new strategies are working. Great. We can see what skills a student has mastered so that he can move on to the next ones. If he's struggling in certain algebraic skills, we need to go back and support him. If he's just blowing through it, reality is he might be misplaced in a class, and we need to figure out a new one for him. And the last part that I think you as parents will be excited about is you're going to have a tangible data point to see where your son's growth has been. So you will get evidence. Obviously a report card's part of that, but you're going to get physical evidence to see my son is improving in the skills that he needs to be college successful. Last thing I want to share with you. There are 2 things you'll hear a lot about: Power School and Schoology. Are anyone familiar with those 2 terms? Okay. Don't want to get into the weeds of all this because it can get very complicated. In short, Power School. Power School tells us, for the most part, where your students have been. So if you want to look historically, what grades your student might have had, that information is housed there. On our side as a school, that's how we get your son's transcripts. It's how we look up your phone number, your email, all that kind of stuff. So it's a student information system. The thing that you're probably going to use the most is called Schoology. That is what's called a learning management system, an LMS, as opposed to an SIS. Schoology will be the most up-to-date. If you want to know what grade your son has in Algebra 1 right now, Power School is not going to do a whole lot of good for you. Okay? It'll tell you what he got last quarter. But if you want to know right now, Schoology. Okay? So, in going, you would go to Schoology.com. You'd go from our parent portal on our website, Schoology.com, to log in. You'd register as a parent. You can see up there, because there's modes for instructor, student, parent. You're a parent. All this is going to be emailed to you again. So don't think, oh my gosh, I got to write all this down. Just want you to know you're going to hear Power School and Schoology a lot. Most of what you're going to want, the information that you as a parent are going to want, is probably going to be on Schoology. Doesn't mean Power School is not important. Okay? So then you'll sign up by using an access code that is unique to your son and the classes that he's in. So you won't have that information yet because his finalized courses aren't quite done yet. For most of them, they are. They're going to be getting their schedules on Monday at that orientation. Okay? Even still, it won't be till he's actually in the class with the teacher that day where he'll be able to get access codes and all those kind of things for that class. So, but eventually you'll get all those things and you'll be able to sign up, and depending on what you sign up for, you can even get pushed emails to where they'll tell you your son's progress, okay? So this is what it'll kind of look like. You'll be able to look at a feed of all different assignments, different classes, different courses that they're taking, all those kind of things. Upcoming assignments will be running through here. You'll be able to get a snapshot, a picture into your son's academic progress through Schoology. A lot of the things you'll need are through there. Obviously, still call the school, send an email if you don't understand something. It will take some practice and some time to get used to it, but eventually you'll know exactly what you're doing and you'll be able to get in. But this is kind of what you'll be viewing, okay? So again, this is an example of an American literature course. So in a way, it kind of looks like Facebook. There's a feed. You can tell what class it is. You can look at a grade book. You can look at upcoming assignments. Depending on what your son's teacher utilizes, he might even be submitting assignments through Schoology. So he'll be able to get feedback through the platform. So this is a very handy tool for obviously your son and his teacher, but also you as a parent. Because you can go on and see, hey, it looks like you had a practice essay. Did you turn that in? Yes, I turned it in. Can I see it? And then he can pull it right up. Okay? So then also, teachers use this to push out notices to students as well. So if there's a message that a teacher wants his students to see. So as you can see at the top, Mr. Fernando was updating his American literature class. Here's the agenda for the week. So even if your student misses a class, he can go right to Schoology and see a lot of the stuff that he missed. And this is Power School, and you'll get all that sign up. I do want to move through this though, because you're going to get all this because I talk too much and Ms. Skipper needs to talk to you. So, like I said, you'll still have the opportunity to sign in for Power School and you're going to get all that information. But just know that most likely you're going to use Schoology more. Okay? So thank you all very much. Now I'm going to give Ms. Skipper the floor.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. We are so excited to see so many of you here. My name is Alyssa Skipper. I am the lead counselor here at Bosco, and I am beginning my 5th year here. So I am very excited to have yet another fabulous class come in that I am so excited to meet. We're going to talk a little bit right now about our counseling department, how we have this structured and broken down, and you'll learn a little bit more once you have an actual class schedule and you can see everything for your student. So, my information is here at the top. Like I said, I work as the lead counselor. I also exclusively work with our transfer students. So anyone out there, if you are a transfer family not coming in as a freshman, I will be your person and your person that you can talk to about anything and everything. We have a brand new counselor this year. We're really excited, Miss Melissa Pantoja. We have Omar Delgado, and then we have Basil Toda. They really break up the majority of the students in our school by alphabet. And you guys will be able to see who that assigned person is once you're able to access those courses. Now, in addition to that, we have Mr. Bryce Whiteland. He is in charge of all of our international students. So if you're in that situation, you're coming in as one of our international students, he is the person that you will be working with. And finally, another new person for our department, Ms. Kathy Ruhan. She is going to be a brand new position for us that we've actually never had here at Bosco, and she will be our learning support specialist. Her goal and her entire job will be based on working with our STEP students. If you are not familiar with what that is essentially our private Catholic school version of an IEP or a 504, special education, students who need some type of additional learning services. So there might be families out here that know that coming in from your previous schools, your son has been diagnosed with something, or perhaps you're thinking about going through that process of getting your student diagnosed with some type of a learning disability, other health challenge. There are many, many reasons that we have students in our STEP program. So if we don't know that you have that information, we need to get it as soon as possible. She will be your contact person for that. So if your student does have documented something, or you're in the process of looking into that, she will be your go-to person. And if that's the case, we will make sure that you are on her caseload. Like I mentioned, you'll be able to view on Schoology and on PowerSchool when you look at the actual class schedule who that assigned counselor is. We usually put it in as one of the, like a 10th period class. It's not a real class, it's not something that they have to go to or show up to, but it will allow you to see, okay, I have a freshman student who is assigned to Miss Pantoja. That is my contact, that is the person I work with. So what do we do as counselors? We do a lot of different things, and there really are three main realms that we break that down into. The first, and by far the most important one, is the social emotional aspect of it. That's what we're here for. Your students are going through a huge challenging time in the world, on top of the fact that they are teenagers going through huge life changes. They have a lot going on. So we are here for everything from stress management, anger management, working through their personal relationships with their friends, with you as parents, with their siblings, with everyone out in the world, people that they have relationships with, and how they work through those and process those. And of course, just mental health in general. So if your student is struggling with something, we are your go-to person to be able to talk to and help them through whatever these challenges are, and support you as parents too. It's not just about supporting the student, it's about helping you as a family through what might potentially be a challenging time. The next section of this is going to be the academic realm of it. So we do a lot with that piece of it at the high school level, because everything you're doing now, beginning in this 9th grade journey, is getting you ready for the next level after, whatever that may be. All of our students have a personalized journey, and that's how we want it to be. So we're going to be there to help them make sure that they've taken what they need to get to that end goal of theirs. So course planning, scheduling, putting their actual courses together every single year. That's something that we do. Talking about their struggles, their concerns in the classroom. If they're having a hard time, their grades are starting to slip, they need some kind of additional support, that's what we're there for. And study habits. A lot of students are very intelligent, they just don't know how to study. They don't know how to learn. So we can sit down with them, be creative, and talk about other things that they can try so that they can help to increase that for themselves. And then finally, at the high school level, everybody's kind of thinking about the college and career journey that they might be going on next. So that's another huge piece of what we do. Our biggest message to families is about finding the right fit. You don't just look at some Ivy League schools and some other prestigious places and say, all right, I guess that's where we apply. Not every student fits that mold, nor should they. They're all unique individuals and they want something different out of life. So our journey with them is to help them discover what that is and who they are. We do that through lots of things, meeting with them one-on-one, making sure we understand who they are. In addition to something called Naviance, which is a really cool program that we use. You might have even used it at some of your previous schools. At the middle school level, it is a college career research tool. We do everything from them taking personality assessments to help connect them to future careers and colleges, to the actual research aspect of figuring out where they might want to apply. We help them with the testing aspect of the college application process, and then finally, the actual application process, which is very intense, and financial aid, all of that good stressful stuff that is a little ways away, but we'll chip away at it as you go so that you know what you guys are looking at for the future. So how do you access us as counselors? So our counseling office is located right across from the student campus store. You guys will see that. I believe you're gonna walk right past it when you're on your way to your next session after this one. So we are housed in that area. We are open every day, Monday through Friday by 7:30 a.m. And then we'll be there for at least 30 minutes after that last bell rings and that last class ends. Lots of different ways you can talk with us. We are happy to hold both in-person and virtual meetings, depending on what your personal family needs are at the time. You can make an appointment by calling or emailing that counselor, and then we will get to you and get something scheduled as soon as humanly possible. Students are always welcome to come in our office. We have an open door policy. We want to make sure that our students have access to us. So they can walk in before school, they can walk in after school, during our break, during our lunch. If it's during a class, obviously they need permission to be out of class, so they can always schedule an appointment with us at that time. That way they are not leaving the class for too long and missing anything important, but we're there. We are definitely accessible. Now, in addition to us, with our trained group of counselors, we also use something called CPLA, Counseling Partners of Los Angeles. It is an additional social emotional component of what we do. So they are basically there to be additional therapists should your student need it. So these are students who need to be seen on a weekly basis because they're dealing with something heavy in their life. They're really stressed. Something is going on. So there is a referral process for that, and that is something that we can absolutely talk about should you be in a situation where you want to seek those services. Schedule changes. So just a couple warnings for you. You're going to be seeing those schedules pretty soon here. I know you guys did your course requests a while back. You might have even forgotten what you chose at this point. Very easy to do. But we do have those schedules that will be ready. By Monday, they're going to see them. And they're probably potentially going to have some questions. Maybe they might even be seeking some type of a change. So some reasons that someone might ask for a change. They're missing a course. There's a hole in their schedule. And that does sometimes happen when the master schedule gets put together. They were placed in the wrong level of something or a wrong class. Perhaps they thought that they were going to take honors and they're placed in a regular class for something. So we need to have that conversation and get them placed into the correct course. Or they're in an elective and then over the summer they changed their mind. Perhaps they signed up for animation and then they had a little change of heart. Now they do want to do theater, something like that. So we can definitely accommodate those schedule changes as much as possible based on space and availability at the time that we're doing the schedule change. To be clear, per our school policy, there are two main reasons that we would not change a schedule. So we do not accept requests for a specific teacher, and we do not accept requests for a specific period. So just keep in mind, anything else is fair game to ask us about, to have a conversation, and to change their schedule as much as we possibly can. We will continue to change schedules for the first 2 weeks that they are available. So all of next week, they will be available while they're doing orientation and their first couple days of school. And the entire week after that, we will also still be changing schedules. So plenty of time for them to be able to get those requests in. Contact the counselor, the assigned counselor, for anything that you want to change. And then just a note on what you should be expecting to be in those schedules. So all of our students every year take 7 classes. That is non-negotiable. It's 7 every year. We keep it very nice and simple for everyone. For freshmen, they're all going to have a religion class together. They will all have English, they'll have a math class, a science class, and then 3 electives of some sort. That can be a combination of tons of things. Some type of a visual performing art course, strength and conditioning, maybe it's health, maybe it's a pathway, maybe it is Spanish or French or our university prep class. Those 3 classes can be made up of anything. And then for transfer students, you're coming in at all different grade levels. So your schedule might not necessarily follow that exact pattern, but it will be pretty similar. Always religion, always English, and then possibly a combination of a few of those other things. And a plug for us, there is so much more that I could go over with you, talking about college requirements, talking about everything that you need to do to get through high school from a counseling standpoint. And because of that, we just simply don't have time tonight to do all of that. Because of that, we're gonna do a separate night for you guys just from our counseling department so that I can expand on what I just talked about and give you a ton more information. We're gonna talk about graduation requirements, academic support, Naviance, all of that good stuff. That is going to be on Tuesday, September 6th at 6:30 p.m. and it will be virtual. We know in this first month of school, you guys are being asked to come here a lot and that can be very stressful after a long day of work. So we're gonna do a virtual one for you. It'll be recorded, so if you can't make it at that time, you'll have access to it after the fact. And we will get that link out to you as soon as we can. It's about a month away. We'll make sure you guys have all of the information. And that was it for me. Thank you.
I want to thank the skipper right now because, again, I went a little long-winded and she was able to give you all the information that she needed to give in even less time. So thank you. We have just maybe 1 minute. If there's one or two questions anyone has, again, you can send emails, call, of course. Monday's the first day of orientation. Check-in begins at 7:30. And it's just going to be a great opportunity for your sons to get used to being on this campus. Even being, I remember being there time ago, being a freshman coming onto this campus, and wow, this is 20 times bigger than the little elementary school I went to. So being able to be on here ahead of time in a space with other students going through the same things I am, it's really helpful. So there's gonna be 2 great days. Maybe 1 or 2 questions, go ahead.
Do they need to wear dress shoes on Wednesday?
On Wednesday, they don't necessarily need to wear their dress shoes. It's good practice, but they definitely need to be in their uniform because they will be having a picture taken.
Is there a formal parent-teacher conference period?
So our parent-teacher conferences are not formalized in that they're on this day at this time. We've found that that's a great opportunity, but it's great for people to be able to come onto campus, but really then you only get 5, maybe 10 minutes with a teacher if you're lucky. And if you're really wanting to get down to having a conversation with a teacher about your son, you need more time with them. So we encourage, please set up a conference with your teacher, and they are available for that. Again, in the advanced world that we live, it can be virtual. So even if you can't make it to campus, you can set one up. If school's over at 2:40, set one up for 2:50 with that teacher on a Wednesday or whatever it is, and you can go right there and do it, or come on campus as well. One last question. Yes, so textbooks, if your son is in an AP class, which if they are freshmen, they almost likely will not be at all, but they'll get textbooks that they need from their teacher on the first day. Okay, and with that, it looks like the other group's coming over, so I apologize, but thank you all.
Okay, I think we'll get started now so that you guys can all get home eventually. Thank you for being here, first of all. My name is Jen Schnorr. I am the Vice Principal of Student Affairs here at Bosco. This is my 5th year at Bosco, and I couldn't be happier to be part of this brave family. I also have a freshman coming in this year, so I'm also on the parent side as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime. As part of Student Affairs, I get to look over and support and help these 3 main parts of our school, which are student leadership and our ASB program, as well as campus ministry and Christian service. So one thing that's very special to me about being a part of Student Affairs is it's basically everything that makes high school, right? I always say when you're old like us, you're not gonna remember that one math lesson that you sat through, but you are gonna remember all of the fun activities you got to be a part of, the things that you involved yourself in, the clubs that you were a part of, the dances you went to, the rallies and the games that you got to play at those rallies. Those are all the fun things that make your high school experience. And so we really encourage the boys to be a part and to really put themselves out there and get involved as much as possible, because if you just sit back and just go to class and don't interact with anyone, you'll get through high school, but it's not the same. And one very special part about Bosco is the brotherhood that you always hear about. It is amazing and so fun. I've always taught at co-ed schools before this, and just to see how the boys interact with each other and how different it really is amazing. You will see a true difference in how your son evolves and grows and turns into a young man that is ready to go out and conquer the world. Our team is amazing. We have a great student affairs team. Mr. Chris Tran, who is our CYM, which is the coordinator of youth ministry. He is super fun, and he is now going to be both the CYM and campus minister because Brother Quang has to move up to the Bay to continue his Salesian vocation. Mr. Maciel is our Dean of Students. Hopefully you don't have to hear from him too often, but he's a great guy too. And we now have a new Assistant Dean this year as well, Mr. Jeff MacArthur, who is a new football coach on our staff as well. So we're really excited to add him to our group. Myra Fernandez is our amazing activities director. She came in last year, and we had previously taught together and worked in activities together at a different school. So we work very closely on putting together all of the amazing events. She is super energetic. She's great with the boys. She has a great team assembled of all the class boards this year, and they're already here today and yesterday planning all of the events to make this school year great. Margie Woods is our attendance coordinator. She has been here forever and ever, and the boys will know her because she bakes cookies every single day for them, and they love her. And then I am Jen Schnorrigan, Vice Principal. I also teach Spanish here, and we'll probably have some of your boys here in the future. Our ASB and student leadership group is very prevalent here on campus. It's comprised of 5 total groups, so an exec board, along with 4 different class boards that are elected by their own classmates to lead them for the year. We have 4 great class moderators that kind of take charge of those class boards, and then Mrs. Fernandez would be in charge of the exec board that kind of oversees everybody. They do have meetings every Monday morning as a big group all together so that they can kind of all the boards know what they're each doing, what's going on for the week, what they need to plan out for the rest of the month, etc. We have a very active campus, a very active student life. We have rallies and dances, lunchtime games, spirit weeks, all the time. So they're always busy planning and executing all of those. Board meetings are scheduled individually. So beyond that, that Monday morning meeting with everybody, they would have their individual meetings as well. We really would like to encourage the freshmen, especially, to get involved with ASB and to it's a great way to meet people, to learn about the school, and to be involved in all of that we do. So we will be having the freshman ASB board meeting coming up that first week of school on the 12th, where they can hear about what we do here on campus, learn how to apply, how to run for office, etc. We have a big clubs and organization group as well. We have about 35 active clubs per year. It varies because our clubs are student-led. So anything that the boys are interested in, or if they want to start something, if they have an interest or an idea, they are able to start their own club. As long as they have an idea, can find an adult moderator to help them. And then we have club signups and a big club carnival to get everybody to join their clubs. As far as decorum and conduct, obviously you are sending your boys here because it's a place that's going to develop them into good young men. We expect the most from them, as I know you guys do as well. And so we expect them to act like young men, paying attention to their uniform, right? We do wear a uniform here. It is very important. That's part of the look of being an educated and adaptable man. We expect them to respect the entire school community. That means people and property, keeping our campus clean, being respectful of both adults and their peers, adhering to different school policies, being on time to classes, being respectful of their teachers, being respectful of themselves. Also, not engaging in anything off campus that would be detrimental to the school, right? They are representing Bosco wherever they go. I know they probably already have so much Bosco gear that they are rocking every day. So if they are out in town wearing their Bosco things, doing things that they shouldn't be doing, that's not a good look. And that's kind of the the whole person that we are trying to develop them into being. Attendance is very important. As you know, you are putting a lot of time and effort into sending your boys to school here. And so we want to make sure that they get the most out of this high school experience. They need to be in class. And showing up to class 5 minutes late, or always running into traffic and rushing to classes and always kind of disrupting the beginning of the flow, it's not a great thing for both the class and the teachers, but for themselves as well. Even us as adults, you know that when you're running late and you're rushing and you're stuck in traffic, you get stressed out, and it's not a good way to start your day. So as much as possible, help your boys to be on time, to be early even, that would be wonderful, because that will start their day off in a positive way. The last thing you want to do is kick them out the car at 7:59 and have them run across a 36-acre campus trying to get to their classroom on time. We have a big area. It takes a while to get to certain places on campus. So please try to be early. It does get busy in the mornings with drop off. So, take a couple, 15 minutes extra. I told you I have a son coming in too. He's not that excited about having to come very early with me in the mornings, but it is what it is. And he's gonna have to wake up extra early and go to bed early so that we make sure that we are here on time as well. Tardies, the first 2 tardies that they get, whether it's first thing in the morning or if they're just being slow walking to class or decide to stop by the vending machine on the way to class, first 2 tardies will be warnings this year. After that, detentions are issued for the 3rd and 4th, and on your 5th tardy, it will be a Saturday school, which is a Saturday detention for 3 hours from 8 to 11. Parents have to check them in. It's not that fun, so we don't want to get there ever. We definitely want them to be responsible and to make sure that they're getting to classes on time so that they're not disrupting the other kids in their class and the teachers' time as well. Our new student welcome begins next Monday. We're very excited. The boys have been planning it for the last few days, our ASB leaders. We will be here both Monday and Tuesday for all incoming freshmen and transfer students. Check-in begins at 7:30 in the morning, and it will run from 8 until 12. On Tuesday, we will also have lunch for them. We're gonna do a big barbecue and games outside, so that'll be a fun day. The weather is supposed to be quite warm, so please make sure they bring water. We do have water stations all over campus that they can refill water bottles. We will provide them with a snack on Monday as well. And on Monday, they will also receive a Bosco t-shirt that they can all wear on Tuesday together. The days are a little bit different. The first day there is going to be campus tour. They'll do scavenger hunts. They will get their class schedule and hear from a lot of us about different departments within the school, from the counselors and from the dean, etc. On Tuesday will be kind of a more fun day, games, play, community time, things like that, and then the barbecue. Attire, they need to wear anything Bosco, so any Bosco shirt is fine. Polo if you don't have just a Spirit shirt. And then again, it's gonna be hot, so try to make sure they're not coming all in hoodies and warmed up, because it's gonna be warm and we're gonna be outside playing for a lot of the day. And again, our student leaders are the ones that are running it. These are the big brothers. They are the ones that are going to be welcoming your boys to the school and teaching them about what it is to be a Bosco Brave. For lunch service this year, we do have a new lunch provider, which we're very excited about. Our lunches last year weren't the best, so this is great. We have an alumni who reached out to us. He has had many restaurants over the years, and he's done lunch service in school since 2002, and he really wanted to give back to his school. So he reached out to us, and he has renovated our old lunch shack in the back into what is now the SJB canteen, and they will be serving about 4 different cold items, 4 different hot items a day, plus snacks, drinks, things like that. The price range is from like $4 to $7. You do not need to pre-order. It's all a la carte, and it's a cashless system. so they can use Apple Pay or Google Pay or a credit card, etc. And the great thing about him, his name is Otto, he's also going to be not only giving back proceeds to the school, but his one company, the pizza sticks that they will also be serving, he has a foundation in which they have an orphanage in Colombia. And so all the proceeds from that will also benefit this orphanage in Colombia from his organization. So we're doing good all over the place. This is Otto, and you can't see. Drop off and pick up. Like I mentioned earlier, it does get very busy in the mornings, especially the closer to the bell. That's why I asked you, if you can come earlier, that's better, because it does get busy. So what we do ask is if you are coming north on Bellflower from this direction, you're gonna wanna enter the first driveway, which is the one closest to the stadium. That'll eliminate the traffic coming this direction to come in the horseshoe. So if you are coming north, turn in that first driveway, come through this parking lot, and then you're gonna follow along the school all the way to the north side. The drop-off area is not here, it's not in front where the lobby doors are, it's all the way down past the NPR. And the NPR is our multi-purpose room with the glass doors in front. It's kind of the glass foyer that you see. And then you'll see a big gate over there and the 300 building, which is the science building. That big gate is our new student entrance. We began that last year. That is the only entrance that students are allowed to come in the mornings. So it really does not benefit you to drop them off here because they're gonna have to walk all the way down there anyways. And to keep traffic flowing, it's best to drive as far as possible north, drop them off as close as possible to that gate, and then you're gonna exit from that north gate. Same thing for pickups in the afternoon. We had a question about that before. It would be the same process. If you get here before the final bell rings, you can go ahead and go all the way as far as you can north by the NPR, park there and wait for everybody to exit after the bell. They'll jump in your car and then you would exit that north driveway as well. Okay, great ways. I know we always want to know what's going on. As parents, we want to keep up with what's happening at school. We have a lot of ways that you can do that. One thing they began implementing last year was this week ahead email. So every Sunday, you should be receiving this email. If you are not, please let us know because we need to make sure that we have the correct email for you or that we have you on the list because everything that's happening for not only that week, but looking ahead will be listed in that email. Whether it's sports, activities at school, special dress up days, whatever it happens to be, everything that you need would be in that email. So that's very important. We also have a Bosco Google Calendar that you can add to your own personal calendar and be able to look at whenever you want. And now the website has also been updated with a full calendar this year as well. You can go on there and see a very detailed itemization of what's going on each day, including the bell schedule and how the classes are rotating for the day, etc. Our social media presence is pretty strong on Facebook. If you have Facebook, you would want to make sure that you follow the St. John Bosco High School site. The Parent Association also has a Facebook page, and that's more just parents kind of communicating with each other, asking questions, support type things that they might want to know or need from each other. So that's a good resource as well. And then on Instagram, at St. John Bosco would be the school site, and then at SJB Student Life is our Student Life ASB site. So that's more of a student-driven site where they post all of the information, things that are happening, whether it's ticket sales, food sales, games, dress-up days, right? That's more of all the pictures of the games that are happening at lunch, things like that. So that's a student-driven ASB site. And that is it for me. So with that, I'm going to introduce Dr. Eric Lane, our new athletic director, to talk about athletics and our wonderful program here.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. There we go. Welcome to St. John Bosco High School. It's my pleasure to give you a brief presentation on our athletics department here. Like Jen said, I'm Dr. Eric Lane, and I'm the Director of Athletics, class of 2003. And in my role, I oversee everything related to athletics. So management of coaches. I have a team where we oversee compliance, training, anything that comes through the doors of athletics, it comes across our desk. So all the work that we do, I cannot do it on my own, so I made it a point to bring some members of my team here. So I'd like to give them a quick introduction on the next slide, Jim. So first and foremost, I would like to introduce Mr. John Hall, who is our Assistant Athletic Director. He is my right hand. Him and I work hand in hand on everything athletic related. Unfortunately, not here with us today is Ms. Jeannie Pantuso, who is our administrative assistant. She is the brains of the operation to make sure everything stays organized. And then we obviously have Ms. Melanie Mohibi, our head trainer, who makes sure all of our kids stay healthy and all of those good things. So we go to the next slide. Right, so today we're just going to do our quick agenda. We'll do a high-level Bosco Athletics overview. We'll talk about sports, our sports that we offer, and as well as our clubs. Then we'll go into our website. Then we'll have Melody talk about our athletic clearance and physicals. And then John will finish us off with academic and transfer eligibility. So just a personal for me, like I said, I'm a graduate of the class of 2003, and I had the pleasure of serving as a student athlete here at St. John Bosco. And honestly, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Being a student athlete here really helped and enhanced my high school experience. And I hope for all of your sons, if they choose to play sports, that it has that same level of effect on them. The bonds that I created with my teammates, mentorship that I got from my coaches are things that still resonate with me now and I utilize to this day. So it's definitely something that I'm very proud of. But an interesting fact about our athletics department is that 80% of the student body participate in Bosco athletics in some form. I'll say that again, 80% of our students participate in some level of athletics. That means that our department has the opportunity to impact in a positive way most of our students, right? And that's something that we take very seriously as a department. So thinking back to, I want to talk to you about like our level of excellence as a department, the level of the standard that's been set way before I was here and many others. So I want to talk a little bit about the success that we had. And first and foremost, we are an institution of learning. So academics is most important, first and foremost, always. So I want to talk to you a little bit about our academic successes and averages as a department. So first, 73% of St. John Bosco varsity lettermen are scholar athletes earning a 3.0 grade point average or higher. Now, 30% of varsity lettermen earn a 4.0 or higher. 28% of varsity student athletes will play for a four-year university. The national average is 6%. 73% of senior varsity student athletes will play NCAA Division I university, and the average there is 2%. So academics, we are excelling as a department, and that's something that our department takes very seriously, and we demand of our students, because when they leave here, we want them to leave as well-rounded individuals. Now, academics is very important, but also winning is very important for us as well. So we make it a point to strive for excellence in that win column as well. So I'm going to do a little bragging and talk to you about the success we've had as an athletic department. So we've won 2 national titles. We've won 129 league championships, 9 state championships, 18 CIF championships, and 4 Southern California regional championships, right? So we've had our fair share of success here, and that's something we plan on continuing to have. And in order to do that, we have great people like here that's going to support us, our amazing coaching staff, and your sons that will help us continue the legacy going on, moving forward. So we offer 13 CIF sponsored sports here within our athletic department. We currently are members of the Trinity League, and for anyone who knows about high school athletics, you know that the Trinity League is one of the most competitive leagues, not only in California, but in the country. So that means that we have to go above and beyond to prepare our boys to be able to compete at a high level there. So like I said, we offer 13 sports. And our fall sports, we have cross country, football, water polo, and then we offer hockey as a sports club. As far as our winter sports, we have basketball, soccer, wrestling, and we offer rugby as a club sport as well. And then for our spring season, which is our busiest season, we have baseball, golf, lacrosse, swimming, tennis, track, and volleyball. Again, these are all sports that we offer. We have full head coaches that are on staff. They have staff that support. We have a strength and conditioning program. We have a head trainer. We have plenty of resources that allow our student athletes to go out and be successful. I'm going to transition to our Bosco Athletic website. There's a lot happening. 13 sports, clubs, all these different things happening. If you want to know what's happening with our athletic department, I suggest that you get real comfortable with our Bosco Athletic website. Scheduling, rosters, bios, how to contact us for questions. Melody will talk more about different requirements that she has. But anything related to Bosco Athletics is through our website. So please make it a point to bookmark us there and make sure that you're utilizing that as a resource because it'll answer the majority of your questions. So enough talking from me. I'm going to pass it off to Mel so she can talk about athletic clearance and physicals.
I'm the head athletic trainer here at Bosco. I also have an assistant athletic trainer. We are both certified. Christian Knighton, we just hired him this year. He's also teaching 4 classes. I also teach sports medicine pathway. If any of your sons are doing athletics here at Bosco, I hope not, but they may see me at some point for their injuries. Before they participate in any sports, there are 4 requirements. Very important. If they don't have it, they cannot step on the field, on the court, or any sporting activities. The very first one is physicals. Physicals must be done every single year. It has to be done in our form. Also, it needs to be done by a physician, medical doctor, not a chiropractor, not a PT. It has to be a doctor. Please get it done in the beginning of the year, even though if your son is doing like baseball, which is the last season, just get it in the beginning of the year so it's out of the way. It's less a stress for you, for our coaches, and for me because I have to go through every single athlete who are signing up and having physical time. Second one is Family ID. Family ID is the company and it's the website that we have all the CIF requirements for your sons to participate in sports. Pretty much you're giving permission for your sons to participate. And that must be done. It's as important as physicals. You can find the link in our website. It's under athletics or athletic training page. It's called athletic requirements. You can find the link, you click on it, you register, you sign up, and physical form must be uploaded into the Family ID. We do not collect the physicals. Third one is not a CIF requirements, but because we care about your son's health and we care about their especially brain, we have, before the season starts for contact sports only, we do baseline concussion test. It's a software we use, it's called SWAY. The reason we do that before the season starts is because we want to know how the brain functions, God forbid, before concussion, if it happens. So we have an idea of how it works, the brain works, and the balances and all that stuff comes with the test. It's about 10-15 minutes test that they have to come here and do it in front of us. And if we suspect any concussions at any time, they have to do this exact same test and we compare the results. You're gonna get contacted by one of our, it's either me or my assistant, contacting you, informing you about states. Fourth one is the white cards. It's a white card. Coaches are going to give it to you guys. That needs to be filled out. It's just your information. Pretty much you're allowing your sons to travel in away sports, and they're giving permission for if some injury happens, someone doing treatments on them off campus. So these are the requirements for my department. That goes, the white card goes back to the coach. It doesn't come to me. Just, that's it.
All right, good evening. Thanks you guys for being here. I'm Coach Hall, Jonathan Hall. Work with Eric in the athletics department. I primarily deal with transfer students and their eligibility. We'll also take a piece and talk about their academic eligibility. Again, like Dr. Lane talked about, right, we have those overachieving and excelling students. On the other spectrum, right, we have kids that struggle, right? It's a thing that happens every single year. If you find your son is in that predicament, right? So what happens if I get below 2.0? 2.0 is our base mark where our students need to be at each grading period. If your son falls below a 2.0, right, you will be put on a probationary list. What that means is you can still participate in practices, right? Can still be on the team, okay? Until the next grading period. If he stays up, if he gets above a 2.0 the next grading period, off the probationary list, back to full go in all extracurricular activities. If the circumstances, your son falls below 2.0 for 2 consecutive grading periods, you go academically ineligible for any extracurricular activities, right? So that would mean no sports, no dances, all those good things, okay, after 2 consecutive grading periods. Once he has obtained a 2.0, right, then he would go back to full eligibility, okay, once you've got out of that. So academic eligibility, that's what that looks like, right? We're trying to all be at 2.0 or higher, right? That should be our goal. Transfer eligibility. So again, if you are a transfer family, right, you are interested in participating in athletics, I would be your point guy on handling all that paperwork, right? So for CIF, we got paperwork that needs to be done to get your son eligible, right? Each situation is different. So if you do not understand what transfer rules are and what you would be looking like, that would be me. I would be able to answer any questions. And the main goal would be able to get your son to participate in any sports as quickly as possible and as legally as possible. So that's it.
We have a couple minutes in case you guys have any questions for either one of our departments. I'll open it up and we'll take a couple minutes now. Yes.
Computers. What is the software requirements for the students to make? Do they need Google Docs or Microsoft Office?
I would say the Google Workspace is what's used most by teachers as far as Google Slides, Google Docs, things like that. There's no specific requirements unless they're in the engineering pathway, and then they would need a more advanced computer because they're going to have to put different software and things on that. But just a basic device usually works fine, an iPad or a laptop of any sort that they can get the Google Workspace on.
All their Bosco emails are interlinked with Google. So as soon as they're on their Bosco email, right, they can add that as a Google platform, so then they'll have access to all Google.
They'll have their Drive,
apps, all that good stuff. It's a good thing to have them put on their phone, right? Is download Google Chat. It's the way a lot of teachers like to communicate. Even coaches will do the same thing. Basically gives them a text message through their email service.
And we're going to be going through that with that all through the orientation and making sure that they know how to do that, because that's basically, like I said, our text form of teacher to student communication. Quickest way, because sometimes they won't look at emails. So it's the easiest way. Yeah. How much access do the athletes have? So all athletes will be taking strength and conditioning, and that's a course within their schedule, and that would be in every day or every period that they have that class, in addition to whatever their coaches are doing during practices.
Yeah, well, also we have multiple spaces. We have multiple spaces that athletes have access to with. So those spaces are utilized through our strength and conditioning program, as well as she says, discretion of coaches.
Yes. No, on Monday and Tuesday, they will not need devices. Incoming freshmen will need to bring a device on Wednesday because they will be doing their STAR testing as a baseline read on Wednesday. And then beginning on Thursday, when they begin their actual class schedule, they'll need their devices then. But Monday and Tuesday are more like play days, so they will not need a device. Yes.
Is there an annual volunteer requirement for the kids or like a graduation?
There is a Christian service hour requirement, and that will be communicated to them through their religion classes. It is changing a little bit this year because the past couple years with COVID, we weren't able to do as much service in the community as they used to do. We used to go out a lot to different, places to volunteer, soup kitchens, elementary schools, things like that, beach cleanups. So it's changing a little bit as far as how they are doing that requirement, but they will learn all about that through their religion classes here. In the back? Yeah, we have kids that use both. I would say it's probably half-half, so yes, either way it works. Any type of device is fine.
Is there a good one for medical exam?
For physicals?
Yeah.
For physicals, you can go to your own provider, or if you, I understand that like certain times of the year they accept to give you appointment time. If you can do that, perfect. If not, you can go to honestly any CVS, urgent. Timeline. I'm so sorry.
Just the deadline.
Well, it has to be ready by the time their sport starts before they stepped on the field. But again, as I said in the beginning, please get it done now so it's out of the way. You don't have to worry about it.
Before they start practicing, for sure. They can't be on the field practicing until they have it done.
And it's good for
The entire school year. Yes. Correct. They don't have to wear an official uniform on Monday, Tuesday. Any kind of Bosco wear is fine. Yeah.
when will the student transportation services start? Shuttles and stuff?
The buses and shuttles? That is a wonderful question. Maybe we could get Derek over here. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I will give you my card and I will find out for you, and I'll give you all that information. Yes? The 11th? Okay, so Thursday, the first official day of classes. Thank you. For service hours? So service hours for parents, I believe, are 35 hours. Thank you, guys. And I can give you more information about that. But there are plenty of opportunities throughout the year, especially coming from my end of things. We are always having activities that you can volunteer with, whether it's barbecues or providing different experiences for the boys. It's always fun to have you guys come and help us out with those. And there's never a shortage of opportunities to get service hours. So just you'll see emails come through with different volunteer opportunities that you can sign up for. And then as the year progresses, as we get into the holidays and things, there's obviously more opportunities to join in. Okay, yes. They did used to have a system where they helped people kind of find carpools, so I would speak to admissions. They're usually the best people to kind of help. They know where everyone's coming from, and they can maybe link you up with other families in those areas and see if there's something that you guys can work out. So I'd reach out to either Becky or Patty in admissions, or on the Parent Association Facebook page. Okay, a couple more, yes.
Has the canteen opens? The lunch canteen?
It will be open on the first day of school on the 11th, yes. And you'll get more information about that. We'll have the full menu out to you so you can see ahead of time prices and what they're going to be offering. But it should be great. We're excited about it. Food's good, so that's what matters. The boys will love it. Anything else? Okay, well, I know everybody's ready to go home. It's been a long day, late night. Thank you all for coming.